So on the menu today, it's Julia Child's Croquettes.
Oh! Bon appetit.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my home. Welcome to yours. Get comfortable. And today we're in Julia's Mastering the Art of French Cooking, V1. And I found this recipe lurking in the shadows. Well, the bottom of the page. I never noticed it before. It's called Croquettes. It's croquettes. And I love croquettes. When I lived in Belgium, shrimp croquettes are very common over there, and I would have them all the damn time, all day, every day. And I tried to recreate them at home a couple of years later, once I left Belgium, and it just wasn't the same. They're still not too shabby, but you need to kind of be in Belgium. Anyway, croquettes are like deep fried shapes. You can find them in circles, cylinders. Julia's going all in with square shapes. I've never seen that before, but bless her heart. And then, of course, a filling. I'm gonna make 2 for the price of 1. The Swiss cheese, cheesy croquettes, and then shellfish, shrimp. I gotta have the shrimp croquettes. And then, of course, something to dip, an aioli. How about a Provençal garlic mayonnaise? Let's get to work. Now we're gonna start off with our cheese filling using Gruyere cheese, and I'm halving this recipe because I am making the 2 different types of croquettes. The shrimp filling is also gonna use some grated Gruyere, so make sure you have enough. My new cheese grater says hello. I did that wrong. Oh, into that, and then it catches it, Einstein. Saucepan, 1.5 tablespoons of flour, and 1.25 tablespoons of butter. Cook the flour and the butter together on like a medium-low heat. I don't want that to turn color. Unbeknownst to you, I've been boiling up 3/4 cup of milk. I'm gonna pour that into the flour and the butter with the heat off. Keep it whisking, keep it whisking. Quarter teaspoon of salt, black pepper, and freshly grated nutmeg. A pinch of cayenne pepper. Bring that up to a boil and boil for 1 minute only. The sauce should have thickened nicely. Very nice. Off the heat. I have an egg yolk. I only need half of it. Why don't you just use a whole egg yolk? Whisk that together vigorously. Beat it for a moment to cool. Get in the 1/2 cup of cheese. Why don't you add a little extra cheese while you're at it? Because you love cheese and you already added the extra egg yolk, so why the hell not? Breaking the rules. Now it says if you're not going to use it immediately, you dot the top with butter to prevent a skin from forming. Because it's a Julia recipe and that's the rules. Just move that butter all around and yeah, you can see skin prevention has been activated. I'm gonna keep the lid on off to the side. Let's move on. I'm just gonna take a minute here so I can thank today's sponsor, Maiden. Designing professional quality products for the home cook. You're gonna find their cookware in multiple 3 Michelin star restaurants like Chicago's Alinea and New York's La Bernardin. I don't have a cookbook for that one, but it should go right there. And in very amateur home cook kitchens too, like YouTube's antichef. Hello. So this is where I keep my pots and pans and stuff, and I always have Maiden's stainless steel collection within arm's reach. Whenever I'm looking for something incredibly reliable, it's one of these. It's just like grab and go. Let's go cook. I'm always cooking with these 2, the saucier or the 10-inch frying pan. Now what sets this apart from the other pans out there is this premium 5-ply stainless steel material. 5 layers, and that's gonna allow for superior heat retention, ease of heat control, and even heating. So these walls here are calculated for deeper searing and easier flipping, while the rolled rim allows you to pour sauces without spilling. So check out Maiden's stainless steel collection as well as their other cookware and use the link in my description to save on your order and save some money. Thank you, Maiden. Whoop! 3/4 cup of diced shrimp here. And these little guys have been hanging out in the freezer since the lobster ravioli cage match, just waiting for the right recipe. Since these are going inside the croquette, you want a fine dice. Let's move on to the shrimp. Filling. Shrimp. I mean, it's any sort of shellfish. You could use clams or like lobster. That would be some pretty intense lobster croquettes. I'd like that. No, shrimp croquettes today. So in a saucepan here, I got a tablespoon of butter and 3/4 tablespoon of shallots, which have been minced. So cook just for a moment over low heat, then in go the diced shrimp. And cook that for 2 minutes. So when you're halving recipes, things get a bit more confusing. I need to half 1/3 cup of dry white wine, some vermouth, which would be 2 tablespoons, plus 2 teaspoons. Okay, so cover and simmer for 1 minute. After a minute, I'm gonna turn the heat up and boil this until the liquid has nearly evaporated. All right, so here's an optional thing. Oregano, oregano, whatever you call it. It's the fresh stuff, it's been minced. This is half a tablespoon. Get some pepper, salt. Okay, I only have 2 other saucepans. We'll make it work. So I got homemade fish stock from my, again, the lobster ravioli cage match. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And I have half a cup. Bring that up to a boil. Did I mention that was fish stock? In another saucepan, 1 tablespoon of butter and 1.25 tablespoons of flour. This is the exact same deal as the cheese filling. We're just cooking the flour and the butter together for 2 minutes without browning it. Low heat there, Sonny Bob. Turn off the heat. In goes the boiling fish stock. I need to whisk again. There it is. It's like a pinch of pepper, crack of salt. Get that up to boil for 1 minute. Continue to stir. Okay, so how about 1/8 cup of whipping cream and an egg yolk, but I'm gonna keep the whole egg yolk like I did the last time. Yeah, the sauce is like not on the heat right now. I just gonna drizzle this in. You guessed it, bring it up to a boil for another minute. Don't stop stirring. That should become very thick. Fold the shrimp part of this into the sauce, but this is like the Russian dolls of saucepans. So I figure maybe I should do this instead. Fold this into the shrimp. And then with the grated Gruyere cheese, it says half of a 1/4 cup worth. That we're just gonna do until it feels right. Fold that in. That's phenomenal. Dot the top with butter like we did the first time because we're not gonna be using it immediately. Fantastic. What are you doing in there? I did not have any stale bread handy, so I had this hanging out in the oven on a very low temperature for the duration of this video thus far. What I'm gonna do is remove the crust. I'm not gonna explain what we're doing just yet until the bread is sorted. As I've mentioned before, Julia is not much of a crust girl. Kind of break the bread up. Pour in 3 tablespoons of milk or wine vinegar. Now that has to turn into a soft pulp. Let it soak for 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna move on to this aioli. I'm gonna take a pause from the croquettes. That's what this soft, pulpy white bread is all about. It's for the aioli. And this has to be done a traditional way, which is no electricity. You cannot make it successfully in an electric blender because for some unfortunate reason, the garlic acquires a raw and bitter taste. And the egg white required for blender-made sauce does not produce the fine, heavy texture that is a characteristic of a proper Mediterranean aioli. That's fine, because I got Morty right here. I've never pushed my mortar this far before, but we're making this whole aioli in this thing. Whole aioli, 4 to 8 cloves of garlic. You better believe I'm going with 8. I gotta peel them. I have the bread, or what's left of it, the pulp, and my 8 cloves of garlic. This is 9. Pound with the pestle for at least 5 minutes. Until we got a very, very smooth paste. That's been like 12 minutes or something. I think that's long enough. So I'm gonna get an egg yolk in there and around a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I gotta keep going until it's thick and sticky. This is a 1.5 cups of good olive oil, drop by drop. Pound and blend. 1.5 cups of olive oil. I'm not joking around with this thing. Maybe I should have halved the recipe. Once that's thickened into a heavy cream, I can switch to the whisk. And now I can add the oil a little faster too. It's like I'm on the next level. I don't think I measured that correctly, because that was way too much. Okay. So you can thin out the sauce as necessary with water or fish stock. That's the most intense flavor of garlic you could ever dream of. Like burns the back of the throat. I didn't even know garlic could do that. So 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and I'm thinning out the sauce as necessary here. That's coming together nicely. Emulsifying, thickening, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of boiling water or fish stock. I'm gonna go with the water. That was around 2 tablespoons. I made that by hand. All right, so there it is. Moving back to the croquettes, and what I gotta do is make a far thicker filling. And then with that, I will add in my 2 flavored fillings. Separately, of course, not combining them. But she suggests I do all of this for reasons, so I will oblige. Moderately high heat. 1/2 cup of flour, and then gradually add in 1.5 cups of milk. Keep it whisking, keep it whisking. I don't want any clumps. Okay, just declumpify it first, and then add in the rest. So I gotta stir this over the heat until it begins to lump. So that is a good thing I declumpified. Oh, it's lumping, turn off the heat. And then I gotta vigorously add in 2 egg yolks. There goes one. Where's that other one? Vigorously. Okay, now that you got that smooth, you gotta get that on the heat and beat for 2 minutes until thickened, even more thickened. That is thick. That is so thick. Woo! You can take that off the heat. And then salt, pepper, nutmeg. Then once I've added my flavorings, I let it slightly cool. And I'm just gonna haphazardly kind of evenly split that in 2. All right, so she says around 1/2 cup of your flavored fillings. So here's the cheese one. I almost made exactly 1/2 cup, so. And then the shrimp one can go in here. And mix that together. Whisk was a terrible idea. I used a wooden spoon. That's better. Okay. Slightly butter some sort of thing. Spread it 1/2 inch thick. Butter up another platter. Come on, shrimp. Okay, there's 1/2 inch thick. Yeah, I mean, you could just cover this up with anything, plastic wrap or anything. But Julia loves butter so damn much, she says, film the top with melted butter. So I will oblige because it's Julia. Chill these several hours. Chill. Three pie plates. 1 cup of flour in the first one, 1 whole egg, and 2 egg whites. Hold the yolks, and 1 tablespoon of oil, tablespoon of water, pepper, salt, whisk. In the third plate, 2 cups of bread crumbs. Okay, let's bring over the first mix. We're going with shrimp to start. So scooping around a tablespoon and a half, drop into the flour, dredge lightly, and I gotta shape it into a square with my fingers. Into the egg. Spoon the egg over the square. Remove with a fork and drain, and then into the crumbs. And then pat the crumbs all over. Yeah, and repeat. Cheese on the right, shrimp on the left. Repeat that again. Cheese, favorite pan for deep frying. And oil, I'm gonna pour in enough to cover the croquettes. Heat on that mofo. See the cooling rack on a pan, and then she says to crumple up some paper towel. There. And you wanna know that that's close by. Looking for 375. Got it. We're gonna start with a cheesy one as our test subject. Good luck. 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm gonna put the fan on so I can't talk now. Fan's on. I just want to turn the fan off to tell you that that turned out great. It's golden brown on the outside. That was 2.5 minutes. So she says you can do around 4 to 5 at a time. I shall listen. Good luck to you. 3 minutes. I should have done this the first time. Just kind of skim the oil so none of those burnt breadcrumbs stick to my croquettes. That's not good. Ease them in. Shrimp ones. Okay. So take your best men. Some of the cheese, some of the shrimp, and you'd be a fool to forget the aioli. Oh. So I think I'm going for kind of like a pile, like a victory pile sort of thing. It's avant-garde. If I didn't tell you this was oregano, you wouldn't know. Order up. That might be a shrimp. Oh, this is a shrimp one. It's only just me here, so I can double dip if I want. Confirm that the shrimp one is a knockout. I'm looking for a cheese. Whoa. Yeah, stop everything. Stop the clocks. Stop time. Enjoy croquettes. The cheese ones, you know what to expect. Deep fried, cheesy squares. It's gonna be good no matter what way you spin it. But the shrimp ones were better because they had the cheese in there, but then they had the shrimp. Then they had this flavor in there that kind of amplified it, turned it into something a little more special, and it was the optional tablespoon of fresh oregano. Turn these ones up a notch. I don't know which ones are which, but whatever ones the shrimp ones are, turn the shrimp ones up a notch because you could pick up the fresh oregano, and I was like, holy hell, why is that optional? Julia does say if you want to reheat these, if necessary, 2 to 3 minutes in the oven, 450 degrees oven. I hope everyone is okay, and if you paid me a visit, you could have some of these croquettes. I will reheat them Something going on with that aioli. It's just like very smooth and thick and beautiful, and it's just as good as any aioli I've ever made before, and we pounded it by hand. I guess that's what happens when you take electricity out of the equation. I have garlic coming at the pores. Don't come in for a kiss. Okay, that was a treat. You don't want it every day, but when you get to have it, it'll make you happy. So that's all I gotta say about that. That's it, that's all. This was Jamie and Julia. Bon appetit. Au revoir.